Hello Mathujiman, you're watching HornbillTV. Just when you thought COVID variants were a thing of the past, a new one has quietly made its way back into the spotlight. Meet BA 3.2, now nicknamed the Cicada variant. Think of it like this. Imagine something disappearing for years only to return completely transformed. That is exactly what this variant has done. The name Cicada is not random. It was given by Dr. T. Ryan Gregory, an evolutionary biologist. Cicadas are insects that stay underground for years before suddenly emerging in large numbers. In the same way, this COVID lineage seemed to be vanished around 2022. Scientists assumed that it had died out, but it had not. Instead, it was quietly circulating at very low levels, evolving slowly in the background. Then in late 2024, it resurfaced with more than 70 mutations. To put that into perspective, imagine updating your phone software once versus completely rebuilding the entire system. That is the level of change we are talking about. So where has it been found? It was first detected in South Africa in November 2024 in a young child. Over the next year, it began appearing in different parts of the world. Mozambique, parts of Europe like the Netherlands and Germany, and later in United States through a traveler. By early 2026, it had been identified in over 20 countries. In some European regions, it already makes up about 30% of cases. That means if you randomly test 3 people with COVID there, one of them could have this variant. Now let us talk about what makes this variant different. The key lies in something called the spike protein. You can think of the spike protein as a key that virus uses to unlock and enter your body cells. Your immune system, whether trained by vaccines or past infections, remembers what that key looks like. That is how it fights the virus, but BA 3.2 has changed the key, not just slightly but significantly with over 70 mutations. Here is a simple example. Imagine your immune system is a security guard trained to recognize a specific face. Now imagine that person comes back wearing a disguise, glasses, hat, mask, different hairstyle. The guard might not recognize them immediately. That is what this variant is doing. It is disguising itself. That means it can slip past your immune defenses more easily, increasing chances of infection. But here is the important part. Escaping the immune system does not automatically mean it is more dangerous. So should you be worried? The answer is not a simple yes or no. What we know so far is that this variant spreads efficiently. It can partially escape antibodies, which means people may get infected even if vaccinated or previously infected. However, symptoms appear similar to other Omicron variants. For most people, that means mild to moderate illness. For example, someone infected might experience a few days of fever, cough, fatigue, maybe a sore throat, and recover at home, much like a regular viral infection. There is currently no strong evidence that it causes more severe disease or leads to higher hospitalizations. Experts are also pointing out something interesting. Some of these mutations might actually make the virus less effective at binding to human cells. So while it may dodge immunity better, it may not necessarily infect more aggressively. Now let us address the big concern, vaccines. You might still get infected. This is true. Think of vaccines like a seat belt. Wearing a seat belt does not prevent accidents, but it greatly reduces the chance of serious injury. Similarly, COVID vaccines may not stop every infection, especially with a highly mutated variant like this, but they are still very effective at preventing severe illness, hospitalization, and death. That is the part that matters most. So if someone vaccinated gets infected, they are far more likely to recover quickly at home rather than needing hospital care. So what about symptoms? Nothing dramatically new here. Most people report familiar symptoms: cough, fatigue, fever, body aches. Some have described a very painful sore throat, sometimes called razor blade throat. Others may have runny nose, headache, or mild breathing discomfort. In most cases, people recover within a few days without needing special treatment. However, high-risk individuals, older adults, people with existing health conditions or weakened immunity should be more cautious and seek medical advice if symptoms worsen. So what should you actually do? The approach is not very different from what we already know, just applied smartly. It is if it has been several months since your last vaccine, especially if you are in a high-risk group, getting an updated shot is still a good idea. If you feel unwell, test yourself. Today, COVID symptoms overlap with flu and common cold, so testing helps you know what you are dealing with. If you are sick, rest and avoid spreading it to others, especially vulnerable people. In crowded indoor spaces, especially during rising cases, wearing a mask can still reduce risk. And something as simple as opening windows or improving airflow can make a real difference. One interesting tool scientists are using to track this variant is wastewater surveillance. It works like this. Even if people do not feel sick, they can still shed the virus. That virus ends up in sewage systems. Scientists test wastewater samples and can detect rising levels of the virus before hospitals even start seeing more patients. It is like an early warning system for outbreaks. So what happens next? There are a few possibilities. This variant could fade away without becoming dominant. It could cause seasonal waves similar to flu, where cases rise during certain times of the year. Or it could become more widespread globally, but still behave like current Omicron variants without causing major disruptions. The key difference today compared to 2020 is immunity. Most people now have some level of protection either from vaccines, past infections, or both. That changes everything. So here is the bottom line. The Cicada variant is real. It is spreading. It is better at evading immunity, but it is not a reason to panic. Think of it as a reminder that the virus is still evolving, not a sign that we are going back to square one. Stay informed, stay updated with vaccines if needed, take simple precautions when necessary, and most importantly, live your life without fear, just with awareness. That's all we have for now. Keep watching HornbillTV.